Okay, so I wanted to show you some things that are coming up. Besides how this is going to play out in Donald John Trump's life, I just wanted to show you the full moon lunar eclipse chart first so that you could see this finger of fate right here. Okay, sextile and two inconjuncts pointing to the past, pointing to the south node in Libra, which is all about justice and equality and fairness, relationships, right? So this this lineup here is in Trump's chart, and I'll show you that next. But I just wanted to go over it first because this applies to everyone. So we have the full moon at 5 degrees Aries coming in Pacific time at literally midnight, and 3 a.m., of course, if you're East Coast, and adjust your time accordingly. So here's this, the sun here, the moon is over here at 5 degrees. I'll show you that in his chart next as well. So we've got the two luminaries, the moon reflecting off of the sun shining a light on something new, the moon ruling women and the public, and what we see coming out has a lot to do with Ceres up here, with this T in a T-square between the nodes. Ceres at 14 degrees, and the north node is over here at 15 degrees. Ceres in Capricorn, and the south node being in Libra. So we've got, these are all cardinal energies that move. Cardinal means movement. And the interesting thing here is that Ceres is, of course, related to all things that have to do with food and farming and stuff like that, nurturing, basically. But it rules everything that women go through during their life with their reproductive systems. But it's also, in his case, it's connected to grief and separation. What will be separating? I think some money. Because notice this date here is March 25th, 2024, which is coming up soon. It's the day that we have Alvin Bragg's hush money payments to Stormy Daniels' criminal case, and which has turned into a criminal case because it's election interference. And Stormy will be on the witness. She will be a witness, and witness testimony from her and Michael Cohen as well. So I find that very interesting. And then we have the finger of fate, the two corners up here, with Venus at 1. So there it is, women, and women who have been victimized. Women, Venus and Pisces can be about, well, it can be a lot of beautiful, wonderful things, but when it comes to him, it's women he's victimized. Saturn, the karmic taskmaster, is within 4 degrees of Venus. So, and then Jupiter's over here in Taurus, no less, showing something, probably a big payout that might be very surprising to him, because we're only 4 minutes away from being 4 degrees from Jupiter and Uranus together. Jupiter and Uranus together can be a reversal of fortune for some people, and it could be a big payout for others. I think, I think it's going to be a reversal of fortune for him. I think he's going to lose bigly. So, okay, let me move this, and because I wanted to show you that before I showed you the busyness of this. And if this is too much to look at, just listen. I'll go through everything one step at a time. So here's the full moon here in his chart. The sun is in the 8th house, right on top of his Eris. Eris is our dwarf planet that is even more powerful than Pluto because she's about feminine equality. She has everything to do with, she's very connected to Mars and Pluto. She's very connected to the feminine struggle for equality. The sun is shining a light on that. And the sun, of course, is opposing the full moon over here. That's why we have a full moon. It's an opposition. But that full moon is right on his Neptune. And what has he done with his Neptune in his second house of money? He's used it to bribe. He's used it to create transactional types of relationships. It's retrograde, no less. So, it's a do-over for him from his past lives, at least his last lifetime. And I don't think he's gotten the lesson. But, that's between him and the higher powers. So, anyway, here's that big finger of fate, okay? Jupiter in the 10th house, again, close to Uranus, the reversal of fortune. The 10th house for me is all about, the way I've always seen it, is how we participate with society. And we're going to see him just, crazier and crazier stuff. But Jupiter also is a planet that rules all types of law. So spiritual law, man-made law, courts of law. Notice this stellium of Aries energy up here in his 9th house of courts of law. And the North Node is headed that way. So, we're all headed in the direction of the North Node. It's somewhere in our charts. For him, it's to be in court. The South Node down here in the 3rd house, on top of his Chiron, no less. So he came in with this deep inner conflict around relationships. And how do we expand with relationship? He's a born psychopath, so it's all about using others and how, what can I get out of it for me? And here we are with this being in this configuration of the finger of fate. And I think, I don't know if he'll go on the witness stand or how that's going to go down, but the 3rd house can be the house of gathering information. It's going to be about the past because of the South Node is there. The 3rd house it can be about decisions. And of course, these would be legal decisions made against him or for him. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. We also have it being in the 3rd house of communication in the mind. More and more of him just kind of losing touch with reality and not being able to communicate clearly. You've probably seen on Stephen Colbert and all over the news where he just completely lost it when he was trying to say something about Russia. And he's been speaking about Obama as if, he's forgetting that he's running against Biden. He keeps saying Obama. So things like that, this is his, Alzheimer's kicking in. His dad died from it, so that's a genetic trait there. And with Saturn, I forgot to tell you guys, I use the 10:12 a.m. time for him rather than the 10:54 because it was rectified by master astrologer Alfie Lavoie. The dear soul, he's 90 now, still going strong. He created a rectification program. You can go to his website, and I think that was where I got the information. I don't know. I have a printout about half an inch, thick, of all the times and instances, the things that happened in Trump's life. Like when he got married, when he got divorced, or when he went to when he first went to military school, all of those things, which totally relate to his chart. But it does change the ascendant, and it puts Pluto, it actually puts Mars in the 1st house rather than in the 12th, but it brings Saturn and Venus also in the 12th house. So the other way at the 10:54, I think Saturn and Venus, for sure Saturn and Venus were in the 11th, Mars is in the 12th. Mars in the 12th never made sense to me because he's not internal, he's all external. But internal karma he has with his father and with women, and of course, the abuse of his soul, the narcissistic, because he's a born psychopath. So anyway, in case you haven't gathered, if you've been just listening, don't worry about it, but if you were watching, the transits are on the outside. The inner wheel doesn't show. With transits, you never see this in the background. you have to use a grid to see everything like this, okay? So I printed it out, and I have it over here in case I miss anything, but I think I got, oops, the important stuff. I'll just throw it over there because I just, highlighted them in for us. But anyway, this guy's got so much going on. So with Saturn being his father's family fortune and his abuse of it, because, Pluto's there. Venus, we could say, mom and dad, I suppose, somehow, but I don't know. I'm just going to use this over here. Is this corner, one of the corners. So we have Jupiter and Venus at the corner of, remember the, there we are. Remember this one? Remember this finger of fate here, Jupiter and Venus, and then to the south node. Okay, so again, this is here. The south node is right on his Chiron in Jupiter. So we're talking, like I was saying before, the abuse of relationships and the constant lying that he does to get what he wants, and the manipulation of women. With the transits here, it will be revealed. So Venus transiting here in his 8th house, the Sun and Neptune in his 8th house. Saturn will be there soon. It's within 1351. Yeah, it's not, it won't take much longer before Saturn will be in his 8th house. Okay, so let's talk about the 8th house. And let's put the energies of the spotlight, delusion, or source energy, but not for him, delusion, and women, and the feminine, and money. Venus is all about the money, right? He got the money from his dad to start, but he'll act like he's the self-made millionaire. Nope, not. So, 8th house. Let's talk about 8th house. Let's see. Partnership resources, I think those are gone. Sexual issues, yeah, that's what's coming up. Death benefits, things like that. His legacy, what's his legacy? Well, sexual assault, rape. He's pretty much been raping America. So we have that. But most importantly, business partnerships and taxes. And the money that comes in because of your connections with other people. And it's also the house of regeneration, so recycling something that wasn't useful, which is basically, he's going to be giving some money away, I think, with this. If there's not more money coming out due to this lawsuit, it'll be because of the other lawsuits, but this one will be very, very revealing as to what really happened. And this could literally be like the straw that breaks the camel's back, if it's not already happened, with Melania. So, because Venus is also connected up here to Jupiter, I think the comeuppance, that the spiritual law that needs to come down on him, that shows his excesses. Jupiter can rule excesses. It can be expansion and healing, but I don't know if he gets some kind of a soul healing out of this. Great, I hope so, but I think it may be very humiliating for him. So anyway, Venus is also squaring Uranus, so there's some tension field there that can be very shocking when it comes to when we say Venus for him, just think money and women, because that's pretty much how he operates. It's pretty simple. And then Uranus, it's things that are shocking. And so there's a tension field there, and it's coming out in the public because Uranus is in his 10th house natally, right? And the woman that's going to be revealing is Stormy Daniels, and it's going to be shocking to his reputation here. We also have Saturn, transiting Saturn, squaring Mercury. See how Mercury's at 8 degrees, Saturn's at 12. This has been happening. So it's a separating transit that's not as strong, but it's still within orb there. And Saturn is karma in relationships because it's in the 7th house. And then what's he going to say about it? Is he going to lie? Of course he will. Saturn is also squaring Uranus. But this one is an approaching transit from Saturn, and Uranus is sitting there natally saying, this soul needs to wake up. How do we get him to wake up? Saturn's over here going, well, let's look at one way it might happen. Then with these the two inconjuncts from the coming off of the with this finger of fate, these are adjustments that are going to need to be made. The adjustments are to show the truth. Jupiter's all about the truth that happened with a woman in the past. The truth as to his relationship with a woman. The truth as to the truth coming through as to the truth about how he lies and manipulates in order to get what he wants. And on the inner levels, very codependent. So, and his deepest wounding there is being very codependent. Psychopaths and narcissists, they need other relationships because they don't have, we're all interdependent on each other, but they're not healthy relationships. They're controlling because they've lost their connection to their core self. So there's that. And then with the square from Jupiter, 3rd house, mind, mental issues going on there. Ceres is over here in the 5th house. 5th house has everything to do with his old, pleasurable pursuits, you could say, his recreation, and the way he, his creative self-expression. It's down here natally in his 5th house, which is, this is him, wanting to be always on top of things, and then wanting to get into politics with Sag there, with the moon, because he was born close to an eclipse, but with the moon there conjunct the South Node, this shows that he was famous in a past life. I do believe he was Mussolini. Some people think he was someone like Himmler, and that kind of feels okay too, but I think it was Mussolini because of all this other Leo energy here. Oh, and I forgot to mention, transiting Mars, it's separating, but it's been happening. Transiting Mars is opposing his natal Mars. Mars opposition. We get those once a year. So this is, I think he's probably raging underneath. I think he's having a hard time, and he's playing the victim card, but he is feeling like a victim in relationships because things aren't working out. But anyway, back to Ceres. What did I say before? Ceres is about grief and separation. What will he be separating from, or what will be separated from him? What will he be losing? His ability to smooge, his ability to look like he's the big guy, his will, his ability to express himself. We're seeing that already, and we've been seeing it. It's not going to get any better. And then when Ceres moves into his 6th house, whoa Nelly, right? 6th house is health. Pluto's been there for some time, not that long, but long enough, and I'm sure that he won't make it beyond into Pluto, into the 7th house. But you can see this opposition that he might live long enough to see Pluto oppose Pluto, but anyway, Pluto transformation. If you're willing to do the deep work, Pluto brings things to light. Pluto humbles. Pluto eliminates. So eliminating his ability to be healthy, eliminating his ability to serve, eliminating his even his self-care. It's really sad because it didn't have to be this way. He could have turned his whole life around in this lifetime, but he didn't. Because he's got, his chart is set up in a powerful way to do some transformational work. Anyone that comes in with Pluto on the 12th can do that. And, to complete a karmic cycle, but no, he didn't. Nope. And no matter which birth time you use, we have Pluto in the 12th. So let's see, is there anything else? I might be done with this. Did I get this Saturn? Ooh, no. That was Venus. No, yeah, I did get that. I think I'm done. I think I've said all I need to say about this. So this is what he can look forward to with the full moon lunar eclipse coming up on the same day that the Stormy Daniels case begins. Okay, thanks you guys for listening. Take good care as always. Bye.